Welcome to Story Fun. I am Scott.
Hello, I am Drew.
And we are here today to talk about the David Fincher 2023 movie, The Killer, not to be confused with all the many killers.
Was this the one that's on Netflix?
This is the one that was on. It was originally released on Netflix.
Why, is it out on disc somewhere? Did it play in the theater?
It actually did. It was one of those ones on Netflix where it played in the theater for very short, and it was like 2 weeks later it came out, or 2 or 3 weeks later it came out on Netflix. Gotcha. But yeah, I mean, I guess this is a Netflix movie.
Yep.
So
they do sometimes come out on disc, but it's not nearly as common. Yeah, the Alfonso Cuarón one about his family, Roma, that came out on Criterion.
That might have to do. That won a lot of awards too.
Yeah, no, but I mean, this is a David Fincher movie, and you never
true.
know.
True.
But no, I don't believe this is out on any disc, and I haven't heard any plans for it. So.
Interesting. So we're going to start off with a summary. We're going to do 2 summaries. We're going to do the internet summary, and then I'm going to give, because I'm so clever, give with my own. But
well, you can't just coast on your looks all the time.
I can't. I know. It's very difficult, especially when you got my looks. After a fateful miss, an assassin battles his employers and himself on an international manhunt he insists isn't personal. That's what the internet says.
I mean, that sounds accurate, I guess.
Okay, here's what I say it is. Professional assassinations for dummies vignettes loosely held together by a revenge plot and the soundtrack by the Smiths.
Don't forget the unending voiceover.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, that's the movie. That's the type of movie it is. It's a voiceover movie.
Yeah. So because if Michael Fassbender doesn't talk, we have to know what he thinks. Because he doesn't have any facial expressions, because he's a cool, calculating killer. That's
true, but I think that there's more going on than just a.
I agree,
and I think there is a interesting take on the idea of unreliable narrator going on here.
Yes, good point.
And that's why I think that's what I think makes because it's a different way because of the voiceover, and I can get into that, but. Just a few things about like what the movie's quote unquote about thematically, which I always like to bring up. It's interesting that some people kind of draw a connection to this as like being like a workaholic. It's weird to think of it that way because the type of business we're dealing with, a professional assassin, but he is someone who's obsessed with his work.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, he is probably missing out on a lot of his life.
I mean, it is a workaholic workplace drama.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's a good point.
But it's just weird to think of it, when you're running around killing people.
Well, it's funny that you're connecting it to work because I was trying to decide. I've mentioned in the past, one of my favorite genres is competence porn. Watching movies where people are really, really good at doing their job.
Yeah.
I can't decide if this is competence porn or not because he clearly knows what he's doing, but the whole movie is he fucked up something. Like it's literally the music cue on the soundtrack is fuck, period.
Yeah.
He fucks it up in the very first scene of the movie, and then all the other decisions he makes are not professional. So I don't know if it's competence porn, but the prequel would be competence porn.
Sure. And I think that there are also like another theme in this is also sort of disillusionment, and I think this sort of plays into what I was talking about, the unreliable narrator, where this guy, there's a gap between what he thinks his ethos or whatever his mantra that he says and who he really is.
Oh, the whole anticipate, don't improvise.
Yeah, but all that and like professional, and I don't give a fuck, like all that.
Oh yeah, and I don't care, but of course he cares.
And that's the thing too, because like until you watch the rest of the movie, in the beginning part when he's like, I don't give a fuck or give a fuck, whatever, however, and the way he delivers that, like so, like stilted, like stressing each word, and you're kind of like, whatever, dude. But then,
his whole affect and conduct in the beginning is like, this is a professional hitman who's waiting literally 24 hours for the shot with his equipment and his skill and all that kind of stuff. And so you believe that he believes that.
And then as you watch it, like the more I watch the movie, the less that part bothered me, because then it was like,
okay.
because I felt like he was trying to
Convince himself.
He was trying to convince himself.
I buy that.
But at first I was like, all right, dude, because if he would have been like the super cool like hitman all the way through, that then seems very like, oh, come on, like you're trying to get style points, but this feels like he's convincing himself.
This movie is definitely more interesting than that movie. Not only because that movie's been done a lot of times and done well, but it's just more interesting. And Michael Fassbender he's one of my favorite actors. Mm-hmm. Even when he's got a flat affect like this, most of this movie, there is stuff going on inside him, which is why I don't always need as much of the voiceover as we got. Mm-hmm. I mean, as Magneto in the X-Men First Class, especially that one, he is very like one wavelength because of his single mission. And that wavelength isn't mania. That wavelength is I am going to get revenge. And I bought it completely.
There is with Michael Fassbender, he is very...
You're getting so good at his name.
When he is... I know. I finally got one right.
Ari Aster and Michael Fassbender in Scott's Nightmare
but they are... I mean, he is very... when he's mad, when his character is angry, you really feel it.
Oh, yeah.
Even without... He makes it come across in his face like it's definitely... he doesn't need to say anything.
Yep.
Really, this guy's pissed.
Yep.
One of the things that I like, so I did kind of like, some people may or may not like this, but I liked the fact that they broke it down into chapters. Mm-hmm. The stories told into chapters.
That usually bothers me. It didn't bother me as much here because it made sense the way that they broke it down by which person he was going for.
The way it starts out, and it almost feels like, because of the way that the credit sequence is, because I mean that's one of the things David Fincher is known for, is he always usually has interesting credit sequences in his movies.
Yeah, this is so fast. I was surprised.
It was very quick, but it almost did. I almost got like and this is in a good way, like more like an HBO kind of like credit opening sequence, because HBO their shows usually have really cool like opening credit sequences. Mm-hmm. They are like that whole like scene. It reminded me of like a really cool TV show, and so therefore,
which it was because it was on Netflix.
Yes, well, and then but it was not an actual show. But I did feel like the chapters almost felt like
episodes.
They did almost feel like episodes, because there is a person. It's almost like a villain of the week TV show, because each person, for the most part, there is a villain, or an antagonist, in a specific antagonist in each one of
That's
the
a
chapters.
Great point. You know why I especially like that observation? Right. That's great, because that means that they could have made it into a 6-episode Netflix series.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Thankfully.
Because, as I've probably mentioned a time or two, almost as much as Mad Max Fury Road, I cannot stand all these stories, documentaries, narratives, whatever, that fiction, they get dragged into, well, let's do 6 episodes, let's do 8 episodes. And I watch a lot of them and I go, there is a tight 4-episode miniseries or even a 2-hour movie in here, and you just filled it with fat. And this is a movie that does not need more.
I mean, this could have been a series. It could have been.
I think
and
I'm
glad they didn't make it a series.
Absolutely. I think it does what it does well. I don't know how I feel about it. We'll talk about it. But I didn't need more of that. So that's a really great point that you made.
And the way that so it's 6 chapters. The first one is Paris. It's called The Target. The second one is Dominican Republic, called The Hideout. Third one is, and this is where we get into the actual like almost like villain of the week. You have chapter 3 is in New Orleans. You have The Lawyer.
Right.
Chapter 4, Florida, The Brute, which is my favorite part of the movie.
Oh, it's the best.
Chapter 5 is New York is The Expert, and then chapter 6 is the last part, which is Chicago is The Client.
Where's the Tilda Swinton one?
She's the expert. Tilda Swinton is
Where's that?
That's New York.
New York, right. Okay.
Now, I will say, here's something funny. When I was looking at the cast list, the guy who plays the lawyer, Charles Parnell, I thought it said Chris Parnell, which would have been a vastly different scene.
I don't know. Dr. Spachiman would be an interesting.
I know him. I'm like, here, why don't you take this?
But you know why? I'm not saying they should have cast Chris Parnell, but I mean, I like that. I'm skipping ahead here with the spoilers, but I like that guy is like a total douchebag, he's the big bad. He's not.
Oh, like
you know.
You think
like
he's
when
like
you find out, he's like, I literally don't know who you are. I'm scared that you're here. I'm sorry that there were consequences.
Oh, you're talking about that's Arliss Howard.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
Charles is the
you're right.
Charles Parnell is the
lawyer.
Is the lawyer.
Sorry, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So forget my point is about Arliss Howard. It's not about Charles Parnell. You're welcome, everybody.
It's fine. Now, yes, the story does start off with a rather lengthy voiceover, and he's talking about his job. And this is where I say it's kind of like it's almost like professional assassination for dummies, because he's like, you have to be able to handle boredom. You have to be able to do this. You can go to McDonald's and you can get so much protein. Like he's like basically telling you like little hints and tips of what you can do if you decide to be.
We kind of know most of that because we've seen other movies. So part of when he's doing his job perfectly and then it goes right down the drain, that was like the first surprise thing. Because even when the postman comes in and he's ready, of course he's ready to kill him and he'll get rid of the body, or he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
But then he fucks up the shot, and it's like, oh, he is not this guy. He is not this pro.
I read it as an intentional way to be like, because you look at something like, I mean, you're talking about, we are in the era of John Wick, where you have these like all these super cool professional high action hitman type movies, and I think it was a very intentional way to say, hey, this isn't people running around the streets of these cities, you know, performing these like crazy type of kills. I mean, a lot of it is just sitting around waiting, which you feel like, well, that's probably the way it really would be. And I think
that was warfare. That was, you know.
Yeah. And I think that was a, you know, because we've had so many, like you said, we've had the cool hitman movie. This guy has not
enjoyed a lot of them. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and nothing against those, but, I
Royale with cheese.
Definitely. And I feel like you have this character who is sort of the antithesis of that, who is just, I'm just sitting here, like the very first part of the movie. I mean, he sits there for a whole day.
Yeah,
nothing happens.
Nope.
Him sleeping, him doing yoga,
and Paris.
And it's funny because apparently back in the around 2008 or so, David Fincher was going to make this movie back then. Showed the script to Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt was like nothing happens for the first 25 minutes of the movie. That's what he told him. And he said, well, that's the point. You know, it's all about the the mundane aspects of doing this. And it's not all high energy, high action. And Brad Pitt was like, I think I'll pass.
Hasn't Fincher been working on this for 20 years or something?
Well, they said, I saw it's about 2000.
No, I mean it's a French graphic novel.
Okay.
And what I know about this graphic novel, I have just said.
Okay.
But apparently he's loved it. This has been one of those this is a director's passion project kind of things. And I think it's probably better that it didn't have a movie star in it. Not that Brad Pitt would have done a bad job, because I'm a big fan of his work and everything. But I think that's an interesting story, because as an actor, you have to agree with and get that, and Fassbender is on board. His performance is on board with that whole idea.
Apparently he hadn't been in this was sort of a little comeback for him. He hadn't been in movies. There was a period where he hadn't been
Fassbender?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh, did he take a break or something?
I guess. I don't know. I have to go back and actually research, but I saw somebody say, oh, this is his comeback. I'm like,
I guess he went out speaking the Kings.
Little reference.
I didn't mean to do two Tarantino references, because then I just looked it up just because I thought I had it oh my God, wait. Yep, Pulp Fiction, 31 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
So super old.
Because we are.
The
senior podcast.
Yeah, so
large print.
Then so what we have going on here, and this is what we've kind of already mentioned, so I'll just restate it briefly, is that he, during this scene, there's all this buildup about talking about how professional he is and how meticulous he is and all the things that he knows, and then he screws up his hit. Which you get the impression this is the first time this has ever happened.
Well, it shocks him as much as it surprises us in the audience.
which doesn't surprise me too much because I mean I guess he was under a little bit of stress because it seemed like they were pushing him to get this job done.
I got that impression,
and so I think that's what maybe made him a little bit itchy in the trigger finger there. But he
see, I didn't read it as itchy. Like it's when he was lining it up past this woman, I thought that seems a little risky, but they've told him you need to get it done. Like he was very precise. He literally just got unlucky. If she had moved the other way, fine. But she stepped into the path of the bullet.
Me, as someone who has never even fired a gun, I personally...
I didn't know that. Are you from Australia or something?
No. I personally...
Wussy country? Sorry, Australia. I was just kidding.
I personally I would have waited, but...
Well, you might have waited so long that you missed the opportunity, which is also true. The whole point of it.
Well, that's why I said he was anxious.
Like you saw La Femme Nikita, right?
Yes.
So that movie, there's a number of assassination
I've seen that
scenes.
as well as the Bridget Fonda American version.
Point of No Return.
Yes, there.
The way assassinations are set up in that, it's all the same like precision and like she's got to put the gun together and all that kind of stuff. But for her, it's the same thing. It's like literally the moment. And I kind of dug that as you were going through the first 25 minutes and I could start to get used to the voiceover instead of hating it immediately, which did take me a little while. You aren't sure who his target is. So when a car pulls up and three guys get out, you don't know like who it is. I thought that was kind of interesting because
there's even one part he's like looking at like this mother and son, and I'm like, oh my god, is that his target?
Right.
Yeah.
And he's got his crosshairs on a woman who's carrying a bowl of cat food to feed a stray cat. And I was like, if you kill her, I'm done.
Yeah. So,
but he didn't.
But anyway, so what happens is
Some
that
fat asshole.
He screws it up. He kills somebody else.
He kills a dominatrix.
Yeah, and does not kill the target. And then this sort of sets a whole thing. And he kind of understands that this is probably bad. And he goes, he hightails it out of Paris and heads back to, he has a hideout in the Dominican Republic.
Well, I mean, that's his home, right? I mean, that's a whole house.
Well, it was called the hideout.
Right, but I mean, like that's clearly
I'm assuming
his
it's
base, right? Because his girlfriend is there and stuff.
So
I say that because the violation isn't just somebody found his storage unit. It's not like they went into his house.
Yeah.
Which he then does repeatedly to people the rest of the movie.
Yeah, so when he goes home, he sees that he can tell he sees footprints outside of his
blueprints
and
cigarette butts.
And then he gets out of his car, he goes further towards the house and then sees
he's
more
very fast
footprints.
and leapy.
Yes.
I remember seeing that scene and going, this guy's cardio is
Oh yeah. Oh, when he's getting out of Paris and he's like, after he screws up, he's pretty fleet-footed. Like he's like hopping over things. I'm like, whoa, dude.
Yeah. He goes downstairs at a speed I would probably slip.
Yeah, probably. So I mean, I would too. But
I didn't take it personally. We're
no,
old,
I know. I said that, and I was like, I didn't mean that as a
31 years
slight.
old. I didn't take it as a slight, probably because I'm so old. I probably didn't hear it.
So he, but when he goes to the Dominican Republic, he goes to the house, and when he finally gets into the house, he sees that there's been obviously some kind of struggle. There's blood, and he
like broken glass, broken mirror.
Yeah, there's
trails
a knife out.
Right. Yeah. Something bad happened, and apparently to someone we don't even know who it is yet that he cares about.
I kind of liked the fact that they cut out the whole thing where I don't really know how he found her, but I'm kind of glad they cut all that out.
Oh, you mean how he tracked her down in the hospital?
Yeah, it's like the next he's when he realizes what happened, and then like the next scene they cut to, and he's in this hospital, and he's talking to him. I'm guessing, was that her brother?
Yeah, it's her brother.
Okay.
To be fair,
yeah,
that's not a big place.
Yeah,
we don't know I don't think they say what town he's in. I've been to Punta Cana. I haven't been to the rest of the Dominican Republic, but that could be the hospital.
Yeah, probably.
Now, if you said he has to find her, like it's Manhattan or something, I'm sure he has.
He
the skills
walked
for that.
he walked into the hospital like he already knew though. That's the thing. So.
Right. No, I'm saying there's probably only one.
But like I feel like he walked in and already knew where she was in the hospital.
I got you.
It wasn't like he was like saying, "Have you seen?"
Also, he also I assume at some point figured out that she wasn't dead.
Yeah, I have to say, and this is a tangent, and I might even edit this out, but I have to say, I find it hysterical when they, in movies like Star Wars, when they say, "Oh, this person was on this planet," and they know exactly where to go on the planet.
Oh yeah,
That would be. I said, if someone said to me, they go, "This person, we saw him in Rhode Island," I would have no fucking clue where to go. Meanwhile, they're like, the person's on Tatooine, and they just know where to go.
you know what that reminds me of?
What?
In Predator, Killer of Killers, when everybody gets a weapon from their culture. And they give the kid a flintlock, and he's like, "I'm from World War II. What the hell do I do with this?" It's like, it's not specific enough. I don't understand how we got here.
It's too funny. Anyway, so he goes there, and when he finds out, he gets a tiny bit of information on who attacked his girlfriend, because she's messed up. Like, she's got like a slash across her forehead that's all stitched up. She's been obviously beaten up, and possibly worse. I mean, I'm assuming worse. It was.
We don't know, but it's
bad.
But remember what she says to him?
I mean,
I didn't say anything.
Oh yes,
so she knows on some level who he is.
Yeah,
this very, very secret person.
Yeah, so it is.
Which I think is actually kind of nice.
And this is and this is what this is sort of what kicks the movie into. This is where we start. He starts to try to figure out, piece together what is, who's responsible for all this, because obviously he is hired through like a broker type person, this lawyer who is not going to reveal who his client is, for obvious reasons. In this type of business, you wouldn't want that to be
plus,
public knowledge.
as a lawyer, even if you're,
yeah, true,
you just do torts instead of murder, you probably shouldn't say.
Yeah. So he, so that's sort of where where he starts, because he all he knows is that a taxi driver dropped the people off, and then I guess brought them back too, right?
And we know, all we know is airport. We find out later it was actually a private jet airport.
Yeah,
but
that's sort of where we're off from that point. This is where the jumping off point to where he now goes on this revenge plot to make the people who are responsible for this pay. Or at least that's what I thought. When you get to the end of the movie, then you're like, wait a minute, what?
Yes.
I have a specific problem with that very, very end. But anyway,
me too.
He goes to he finds the person that he goes and he busts into the taxi cab office, the taxi cab company office.
Yes.
He finds
to
out
identify who was there.
Yeah, right? Who was the person that drove these people to his home. And he finds this guy. He gets information he wants from the taxi driver. He takes him out, makes him go to like a isolated area, and then he kills the taxi driver. And here's the thing: I have the way the movie ends makes me have a real problem with that he killed the taxi driver.
Well, why would he kill the taxi driver but not the taxi company guy? If it's all about like no loose ends.
Well, I mean, is he just because he's mad? I don't know. Does he have?
Well, I mean, he's definitely mad at the cab driver.
Yeah.
But the cab driver didn't do anything.
But I have more of a problem with who he decides not to kill versus who he decides to kill.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, but basically he goes, and I'm not trying to go over the whole movie, but basically he goes through a series. It's one of those types of movies where you see it's a very common device in a lot of revenge movies. You keep going through the different people till you get to the big guy, and that's where we are in this movie. That's what this movie is. It's him finding all the different people, going through each one to get to the next level bad guy.
It is very video game in that sense.
Yeah, in that sense.
I don't know if it's like the Hitman video games because I haven't really played those.
So one of the things that I wanted to say about the voice. So the voiceover, this whole time there's a lot of voiceover. So one of the things that I was talking about as far as unreliable narrator, what we see like in another David Fincher movie, Fight Club, unreliable.
I saw that one.
Unreliable narrator, and I'm going to give spoilers for
the movie.
Fight Club. So if you haven't seen Fight Club, and we're giving spoilers. I mean, I think if you're listening to this, you should just know from now. We're spoiling it. But I'm going to give.
But if you're a new listener,
thanks,
we
Scott,
spoil for letting them know.
There you go. But I'm going to tell you though, for Fight Club, I'm going to spoil it in a second here. There's an unreliable narrator scenario, type device in Fight Club, and you find out that the whole time you've been watching this movie, and that the narrator, the main character, is actually this other person he's been talking about is actually the same person. They're
Right.
the
Ed Norton has been talking and working with Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt is Ed Norton.
really Ed Norton. Yeah. It's really him that's been doing all these things. Okay, so that's how a lot of these unreliable narrator things. Say Shutter Island. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like at the end you find out, oh, it's the big twist. In this one, it's an unreliable narrator, but it's not a twist. What's fun about this is that he's saying all these things and stick to the plan and don't get emotional. And he's doing the exact opposite right on the screen. So that's why the voiceover works for me, because he's saying all these things. He's clearly emotional. He's clearly pissed off.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying, stick to the
messed
plan.
up his girlfriend.
I know. And he is like, especially in my favorite part, The Brute, that scene, clearly emotional.
Oh, yeah.
And what I like, one of the things that they do, and like from a technical standpoint, is that, and I kind of thought this, and then I kind of researched it, and apparently this is true, that when he starts to go off, when he starts to veer off, and you really see it in the whole Brute scene, that's where he the guy who is like this big guy that probably is, or not probably, he's the guy that you understand from what the information that he
hurt his girlfriend.
He's the guy that actually physically hurt the girlfriend.
Yep.
And he's a big, looks like probably like an MMA fighter. He's a big dude.
I know a lot about that gentleman. I will tell you.
Okay. Yeah.
An hour later.
Isn't he like, he's like a stunt guy, right?
I mean, I can tell you now if you
want.
Well, finish your thought.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. And when he starts to kind of go off kilter, that when you sort of have that, we have that schism between what I'm saying, what I'm trying to do, and what I'm actually doing. When it starts to really go off, like that scene where he starts fighting that guy, like physically when they're, coming to blows, like the music changes and the camera angles get more like janky. I
like it.
Love that fight scene. It's like low light, like brutal. Like, I like the sound. I like the music. I mean, that had to be hard as hell to light that.
Oh yeah,
because
there were times
where fast.
There were times where I thought, I wish this was a little bit lighter, but I didn't bother. Like, I didn't go on YouTube to see if anybody did that.
No, I don't think,
because it feels real in a dark house.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it was ever too dark.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is I thought it was right on the edge.
Yeah, I'll admit that. Now, here's the thing,
but actually, appropriately so.
I think when I asked you if you had watched it, when I texted you and asked you if you watched it yet, my dogs went nuts during that scene. In the beginning part where the dog was barking.
Yeah, the Brute has a dog. Yeah,
the Brute has like I guess is that a pit bull?
It's a pit bull.
Yeah, it's a pit bull, and the dog is barking. So I was actually watching it. And, I got a new setup in the basement, guys.
Mazel tov.
Thanks. I'm watching it, and
must
my
be spending
dog's
that podcast money.
Yeah, really.
When do we get that?
I don't know. One day, maybe a couple years. So I'm in the basement watching it, and the dog's because the dog's barking like nonstop in the very beginning part of that section of the movie.
Because he's a good dog.
Oh,
there's trouble.
He knows what's up, and he's like going like nuts. And I hear upstairs. I'm like, what? And my dogs don't come downstairs a lot because we just kind of had the setup is new, so they're kind of not used to coming. They would never come downstairs before, and they both came down and they were like, oh, what's this? That I don't know. I just loved everything about that scene, and it was
a lot rawer than any other sequence in the movie, and it was the closest to like a real action scene in the movie, I think.
And I think there's a little
it's nasty.
I think they really punch it up with the no pun intended, when physical blows were happening. I felt like the camera kind of like did like this like blurry shake thing, and I was like, it reminded me of the scene in Kick-Ass when it's Big Daddy, right?
Big Daddy.
When Big Daddy goes in and he
Cage.
kills all the gangsters inside that.
In the apartment?
No, in the warehouse.
Yes.
When he kills them, and it was very comic booky as he's doing, as he's like whenever he would shoot off his gun or he'd punch him, like the camera would like really shake. It would, like it did like this camera, and I felt like now this was done a little more artfully than that. I think that was supposed to replicate more of like what it would look like in a comic. This was done a little more artfully, but it was like, and I think this added to that because I mean that's a brutal scene. I mean they're breaking stuff. Like he throws him into that closet, he demolishes the closet, and then
he destroys what looks like a nice television and a coffee table and a dining room table and a kitchen, and they just go through the whole house.
Anyway,
it's called The Brute.
Yeah, it is called The Brute. I love that. It's funny on the soundtrack they actually put the sound from the movies actually in that section. There's two sections to the Brute part of the soundtrack, and they actually had the sound from the movie in that.
That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I think
Scott, who did the soundtrack?
One of my favorites, Trent Reznor, and his soundtrack, and I guess he's actually part of 9 Inch Nails too. Atticus Ross,
who I keep calling Atticus Finch, and then go, that's the wrong one.
Yes, he defends people at a Southern courthouse today and does electronic music at night.
Yeah, I've known 3 Atticuses. There's Atticus Finch, Atticus. I already forgot his name.
Atticus Ross.
Atticus Ross.
Yes,
and then I think you knew him as well. My cat.
Oh yes,
Atticus.
Yes,
of beloved memory, sweet boy.
Yeah, he's a good cat, and
he was named after the Finch Atticus, not the. Oh my God, Ross! I couldn't remember. That was weird. Do you want me to tell you what I know about Salah Baker?
Oh yes. He's from New Zealand. He's a New Zealand stunt guy. That's all I know about him.
I watched that scene. He's great. Everything you just said about the fight and why it works and why it's cool and it's super brutal, which is appropriate because he's a brute. I love that stuff. I love fights in movies that feel real. It doesn't have to be like it's a superhero movie, so it can't be real, that sort of stuff. But there's a fight in The Living Daylights, the first Timothy Dalton James Bond movie. And
with Benicio del Toro. Isn't he in that one? Isn't the one he's in?
No, he's in the second one. He's in License to Kill. Good guy. He's in License to Kill, which is fun, but with Wayne Newton.
I totally...
That's okay. You were close. He's only 2 Timothy Dalton movies. I think they're both worth a watch, but Living Daylights has a scene where Necros, who is the big blonde bad guy's henchman, he gets into a fight with, I guess, like a British Secret Service type of guy, and they have a fight in a kitchen. And the guy who Necros is fighting is no one to us. We have no idea who he is. And it's so real and brutal without being like super gory crazy, but they're just hitting each other with pans and all this kind of stuff. And it felt really real and not cool.
Yeah.
But desperate. And I like that. And this fight
feels desperate.
Was very desperate. Even the big guy, who clearly overpowers our hero or anti-hero or main character.
Yeah, our protagonist.
When the fight turns against the Brute, he knows he's in real trouble because he's used to just throwing people around. We see him. He's a big weightlifter. He's on steroids. Yeah. He's got a dog that represents how tough he is, all that other bullshit. So that guy looked really familiar to me. I was trying to figure it out. His name is Salah Baker. He is a stuntman from Wellington, New Zealand. Shout out to Wellington and its chief medical examiner. And he was in like all the Lord of the Rings movies. He actually played Sauron. Okay. And he's an orc in a lot of these movies, all this different stuff. Okay. So I just rewatched the movie The Kingdom from 2007 with Spielberg's
so this is your connection.
Movie.
You were telling me
Spielberg's action movie about an FBI team going to investigate a terrorist attack in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So it's got Jamie Foxx and Jennifer Garner and Chris Cooper and
Jason Bateman.
And Jason Bateman is the character at the center of this scene that I'm going to talk about. But there's a big, kind of awesome action sequence at the end where these guys dressed like Saudi cops, who are actually the bad guys, the terrorists, they kidnap Jason Bateman from a car that they've just wrecked. They literally drag him out. And one of the guys who grabs him is this really big dude. And he is brutal to Jason Bateman when they kidnap him. And then in the big fight scene where they're trying to kill Jason Bateman, Jennifer Garner rescues him, and it ends up that Jason Bateman and Jennifer Garner, here I go, saying their full names again, overtime, they attack, they fight Salah Baker. Everybody's fighting for their lives. Super brutal fight. Jennifer Garner ends up stabbing him in the crotch a bunch of times and then putting a knife through his skull, and they win. But I'm watching The Kingdom, and I remember when I saw that movie in the theater, that scene is an amazing scene. I really spent that part of the movie. I wasn't sure if they were going to kill Bateman or not. But there's this one guy, he punches Jason Bateman so hard. he's so big, and you're like, this is real trouble for Levitt, for Jason Bateman's character. And then I'm watching this dude punch Michael Fassbender, and I go, this is so nerdy. That's got to be the same guy. And it is.
Yeah, wow.
Because if you look up Sala Baker, he's in the Kingdom as, quote unquote, cast as kidnapper. And I was like, that's him.
Yeah.
So the physicality of this actor is great. However, that scene did have the biggest blooper of the movie. Because Michael Fassbender has to figure out how to get past this pit bull. And we all know he's a good boy. He's just being loyal. So he, I guess, puts some meds in meat. At first, I was like, he's not going to kill him. You can kill the cab driver, but don't kill the dog.
Yeah.
He doesn't kill the dog. He's going to drug the dog.
Well, and I like, just to interject for a second, I do like the fact that they make a point when they show him, when Michael Fassbender first comes in, they show him, and it's very clear the dog's still alive. He's sleeping. Because you can hear his breath. And I don't know if you see his...
He's like snoring and moving.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, good.
He's purring almost as loud as my cat. And I wish I was kidding.
My dog, my dog Ripley snores loud as shit. She's like...
I love
she's
it.
So loud. She's like...
Yeah, I love it. I've got
piggy.
one of those too. But he puts diphenhydramine in the meat, and he throws it to the dog, and the dog eats it and passes out. Diphenhydramine is Benadryl. That'll knock you out. Diphenhydramine does not make dogs tired. So that happened in that scene. Like, it doesn't have that effect. It's a good antihistamine if they have an allergy problem, but it does not knock them out. And I saw that, and I was like, do I even keep watching this movie? Because it's not credible at all. There's probably nothing to do with real serial killers or punching people, but I stuck it out, and I was glad I did.
Yeah.
But that was the big blooper. I know there's one other blooper, which is that he doesn't have a silencer on his silenced gun. He's got a muzzle brake, but that's gun nerdy, and I'm more dog nerdy.
And at least,
so it's fine.
At least it wasn't a flashlight. So,
yeah, that's true.
Like Walking Dead.
That's true. But yeah, no, I'm glad to. I'm not surprised. I'm glad to hear that ended up being your favorite scene, because it is the most satisfying scene, because he's fighting the guy who really hurt the woman. He clearly, I don't know if he loves her, but if he's capable of that, but he clearly cares about her, and they fuck each other up.
Oh,
like,
my God.
It's crazy.
I mean, when he, that scene when he backs up into he steps back and his leg, the broken chair, broken table leg goes into his leg. You're like, oh.
And then later, Michael Fassbender hits him with the poker from the fireplace, and that gets stuck in the guy's leg. Like, it's just nasty.
Yeah, that's a.
But he deserves it, so you don't mind.
Yeah, it's definitely it's rough, and what I did like about it too is that I don't feel like the choices that they made within like whoever choreographed that fight really, because I don't feel like it always goes exactly the way you think it's going to go.
No, it's very raw and real feeling.
And I did.
But you're also when you're watching the main character, does he even have a name?
I think he's just the killer. Well, but a lot of these people don't have you know, you have like the lawyer, the brute, the
that's
expert.
True. When you're watching Fassbender fight this guy he's a brute. He's big. He's going to throw you around. He's going to punch you really hard. That kind of stuff. Fassbender looks like he's trying to get some like really skilled jiu-jitsu and other martial arts moves. Yeah. It just doesn't really help at first.
Well, yeah, that's what I've heard people say. Like even like the MMA fighters, you know. Not that I watch a lot of them, but every once in a while
you should. It's really fun.
I have watched MMA. I'm talking about like interviews with them.
Oh, gotcha.
And some of the stuff that they've said, like people have asked, like there does get to a certain point where size actually it just does matter in a fight.
Can.
And it's like size. There's a certain point where size.
There are weight classes.
The size differential will outdo any skill.
Yeah,
it's just like
I mean, there are disciplines where that's less true. Like jiu-jitsu is less of that. But I mean, if I'm a lot bigger than you, and I hit you in the face with an elbow, you're probably going to feel it more than if somebody half the size hits me back. Well, yeah, you're not half my size. I know people like to imagine us, but you're not half my size.
But even
Little Scott.
Even with something like judo, is that if someone's that big, I mean, if you're going to do judo, I mean, judo is a lot of using people's weight against them. But if they get in something good right away, you're going to be, and they're that big, you might not be able to.
Well, I think
it.
maybe that's why Fassbender was ultimately able to win, because he didn't, put him in a chokehold, and he did at one point, but he didn't put him in a chokehold and then knock him out. He
that was
eventually. I think he
that
wore
was
the guy out.
One part I did know that you knew that was gonna, when he started choking him and he jumps up, but it's just but it was so much more brutal when he came down on top of him. I was like, oh,
that's nasty.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
I mean, we could probably talk about this for another 10 minutes, so we'll move on. But let me ask you, because we probably should go back to the lawyer part. How did you feel about how that all played out with the he goes to the lawyer. I did like how he did the whole thing with the recycling. I did kind of like that. Like
how he got into the office.
Yeah, and you were kind of cool. You're like, oh, what's he doing here?
Look, I like in general, this is because I also like competence porn stuff. I like tradecraft in movies because I don't know if it's real. I'm not an espionage, or am I? And but it feels real. It feels like somebody researched it, looked into it, whatever. And that's because it's clever. And in this case, it's clever. But he's in disguise. But he's in disguise as someone that you don't see, just like in Fight Club.
Yeah.
But he's not in disguise like he glued on a mustache or something. So he's just like a trash guy who nobody thinks about when they go into the office building. And the way he calculates his chances of getting in and counting how long it takes the door to close and slipping in, that all works. That all works for me. And that whole sequence is very much like, this guy's a pro, and if you encounter him, you are in trouble. Which he said, doesn't he say at the beginning, if people that meet me, it's the worst day of their life?
No, you're thinking of Nightcrawler.
Oh, you're right.
But he does say something similar to that. It's something
the
like,
last day of their life.
I think you don't want to cross my path, or something, or you don't want to find me in your life, or something like that.
Right. Even though he doesn't mean you any ill will until this movie.
Yeah,
because he's a professional.
But I did think that it was I did like how they how it's like he talks about not having any kind of empathy, and but you do wonder when he has, so he kills the lawyer who hired him, and he needs to figure out the next step is who hired the lawyer, and but he needs the secretary, and
Dolores,
yes.
It's a great character. And
then and then he actually takes her all the way back home, and they go through this whole thing. She has this because he says he doesn't like to save anything in the cloud, so everything is in there's these two laptops and a Rolodex and binders, whatever, and
Rolodexes,
but the Rolodex is coded.
Which is what he needs Dolores for, because he knows how the office works. He doesn't know the code.
So that's how he finds out who the guy is. He finds out who the expert, who was, I guess, another basically a higher end version of him, the expert.
Right. Well, because he discovers the people who hurt his girlfriend are a team of a man and a woman, and he got their descriptions, and that's what turns out to be Sala Baker is the brute, and then Tilda Swinton is the expert.
So he does have somewhat a bit of empathy, because she says, I can't just disappear. My kids
Dolores
does. She says, I can't just disappear. My kids won't get insurance money or whatever.
And she says, I've heard you can make it look
like an accident.
Okay.
And so that's what he does, to the tune of the Smiths' Unhappy Birthday, which is
a lot of Smiths in there, yeah.
And it's so I guess that's the closest thing at this point we get to that's his empathy, is that he killed her.
Yeah, because usually he would do that to make it look like he didn't kill someone.
Yeah.
But she asked him to do that, and out of kindness, he pushed her down the stairs, and as she fell, he broke her neck, because that was the nice thing to do. Which it was in that scene.
I guess it was.
He could have shot her in the head. He could have dumped her in the river.
That's true.
He answered her. He agreed with her request.
And then you get more insight into the world of body disposal. He doesn't have to dispose her body because they want her body to be found. But the lawyer, you see how he has
that's what he's got the recycling trash.
Yeah, but how he's like, oh, you only need to take a few pieces of the puzzle away. They won't be able to figure it out. So, he has part of the body in a paint can. He has part of he
throws it off the ferry.
Yeah, he throws it off the ferry.
Yeah, because when first you think he's going to cut up the body, but as he's telling you, you don't need to cut up the body.
Yeah,
you just need to cut off some of the body.
Yeah. And he's like, this part's very labor intensive.
Yeah, right. Well, he has great
it takes
cardio,
it literally takes him 2 days to get rid of the body, which is like,
does it?
Well, he spends at least takes 24 hours because he's not finished. He goes to the hotel room and spends the night,
right,
and then
right,
he finishes up the next day.
Right.
He is.
That means he wants to do it right. I respect that.
Well, and that sort of leads a little bit more to the credibility of the whole thing. Like that would be. It isn't like one of these things where, hey, we're just like in Pulp Fiction, we're just going to put the body in the trunk and we're going to take it to the crusher. You know what I mean? Like this is like no, this is how you have to do it.
However, when that happened,
yes,
surprise Julia Sweeney, which is always welcome.
So that was after he kills the lawyer and his secretary. He kills the brute who most likely did the actual physical assault.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned this, but he really killed that dude.
Yeah. And then we go to that's right, because then that's the only part that made me a little nervous, because the dog's outside, but he lights the guy. He throws a Molotov cocktail into the guy's house, the brute, after he kills the brute.
Well, he has to outrace the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Because the dog wakes up, runs
That's
into
the
the
whole
house,
thing. Yeah.
sniffs the dead guy's body, and doesn't do that thing where a pet lays down with you and is loyal.
Yeah.
He realizes, Dad's dead. And he just goes right after Fassbender, who starts running and running and running, and is able to just slip out of the gate. There's a big,
So
I don't even know, 8-foot fence
yard.
around the yard type of thing. Yeah.
I mean, the chances are, and in my head canon, I'm thinking the dog was able to be
I don't think the dog is dead.
Yeah.
However, as I think about it, it is possible that the dog just took the steak with the diphenhydramine in it that wouldn't knock him out, thought this was a nice meal, laid down for a nap, and then woke up. So the movie knows that Benadryl won't knock a dog out. The dog just had his own character arc.
It's very possible because
No,
well, no, hold on. I mean, not like the character arc part, like intentional, but I'm saying he does wake up pretty quick. He doesn't.
That's true. He's not knocked out for hours because,
Yeah.
it doesn't knock him out. Although he also could have been faking just to see what happened. And he was like, Dad is totally taking care of this guy. I'm going to stay out of the way. And then the wrong guy walks out of the house.
What the hell?
Yeah. Because he hears the fighting stop, and he hears somebody walking around, and he's like, that's not my dad, who he probably thinks of as like Big Stompy or something.
Yeah.
And that's when he gets up and goes in the house and makes trouble. Because I like how Fassbender looks scared
Yeah.
that this dog is coming for him.
Oh, he's like, shit.
Yeah. I have 2 pit bulls. It's not because the dog's a pit bull. It's because the dog is very intense.
Yeah.
I love pit bulls, especially mine.
So then when we get to the 5th chapter is
The
in
expert?
New York, and that's when we get to the expert, and that's the Q-tip lady.
Right.
Somebody
She's
described her
looking-
as looking like a Q-tip.
And then it's like,
That's
oh,
like
of
a
course it's
Q-tip.
Tilda Swinton. Yes.
Either that or the reincarnation of David Bowie. We're not sure. And
Well, when he got reincarnated for Twin Peaks: The Return, he was a giant tea kettle.
Oh, nice.
So everybody can come back different ways.
Sure. No, she did a photo shoot as David Bowie.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. That's why I said that. But anyway, she so, and I feel like this part really, to me, served as a way to kind of give us a little more insight into just the
life
lifestyle.
of these people.
Yeah.
Because she's also an assassin.
Yes.
She also has all the money.
Yeah.
Clearly doesn't seem particularly fulfilled.
Yeah.
She's good at what she's good at, and it works for her.
I do love, though, so the way she sort of meets her demise, he takes her out back behind.
He only talks to her very little while she talks to him a lot.
Yes.
Trying to connect with him.
He takes her back out
the
behind,
restaurant.
I guess it's behind the restaurant? Wherever.
It's right down to the water.
It had been snowing or whatever, and
It's
she's going down the steps, and she's like, and this speaks to how smart he is, because no matter how long she's been doing this or whatever level she's at within this lifestyle, he knows, because she's like, oh, can you help me?
Yeah, give a lady a hand.
And he shoots her in the head without, like, doesn't say anything. I was like, damn. And then when you see her, she's fallen back. In her other hand, she had a knife.
Yeah.
So he knew what was
He's
up.
a pro.
And so that's
her last few minutes, at least, she kept talking about how she knows she's about to die.
Yeah.
And he was probably like, enough already.
Yeah, really.
Let's do it.
Shut up. Please shut up. God. What if he turned into Napoleon Dynamite? Shut up, God. Okay. I'll get a freaking 12 gauge. Anyway, sorry. We
can all still be friends.
Anyway, so we find out the last bit of information here, which is that brings us to the end of the movie. Is we find out the client is like this guy, and I'm assuming he's some kind of billionaire tech mogul.
He's very wealthy. He lives in Chicago. He is the money and the person who hired the lawyer to kill the guy that then Michael Fassbender was contracted to kill. It didn't work out, so he says I was offered the opportunity to essentially to clean it up, which implied like, fuck that guy who blew your job. So
yeah, so this is Arliss Howard, who is like, oh, actually, I want to talk about one quick thing. This reminded me, this is like a little Fight Club callback. He is, and it's also disturbing how easy it is to do something illegal like this. He needs a copy of a key fob. So he just goes on his phone and goes on to Amazon, and it's kind of cool.
He's
looking for the key fob, and it reminded me of that scene, the IKEA scene, because he's going to looking at the key fob, and like all the little Amazon like descriptions, like like what it would really look like on Amazon, are popping up as like on screen as he's trying to figure out what's the best key fob to get. And it's so funny because he goes for the one that gives you 10 key fobs, which I probably would do too.
Yeah, like just in case.
He doesn't need it. He doesn't need 10, but he's like, let me get.
He's talked earlier in the movie about redundancy and preparation and stuff, so that makes sense.
So he goes for the one. He needs one key, but he buys the.
Actually, ultimately,
it's a value.
He needs several because he sees where the guy's car comes out with
True.
the vanity plate.
True.
He needs to get into the building, but then he figures out he needs to get into the guy's locker, and he joins his gym.
Yeah, that's true. Kind of stuff. So he gets to
the vibe of that gym. It's not a real gym, Belly Equinox or whatever, but that's shot in a real gym. The vibe of that, like the coolness of it and everything, that's the vibe of the movie, I think.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to decide, is it a vibe movie? Like vibe movies are more than just the vibe, but like basically a ton of Michael Mann movies or vibe movies.
Oh yeah.
Anything by Nicholas Winding Refn, like Drive.
Yeah.
Those are all vibe movies. And I remember I was trying to think like, is it competence porn? No, maybe the prequel would be. I was like, is it a vibe movie? I don't think so, because it's almost leaden. Like, it's not dreamy. It's very low key, which is that is the vibe of the movie without it being a vibe movie. And the whole sequence at the end where he's trying to get the fob and all that kind of stuff is maybe the most like tradecrafty workman-like extended sequence in the whole movie, because he never forgets why he needs the fob, but that whole sequence isn't suffused with, because you got to kill him. You got to hurry up. You got to kill him. He's like, no, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get where I need to go. I'm going to take care of this.
I thought it was interesting that some people have said that the cold and methodical nature of this character of the killer is it's Fincher really doing a critique on himself.
I mean, he is known as an extremely technical, cool director. That doesn't mean that he's like a dick or something.
No,
but he is very, very. I remember when Seven came out on Blu-ray, and I watched something about it. Was it Blu-ray or maybe even been DVD? I can't remember. But basically, you start getting these movies that come out. They look different. Why do they look different? Sometimes they look different because George Lucas redid the special effects or whatever. And this one, he basically, like, as he does in all of his movies, he gets really into the color timing and the finite adjustments and stuff. So for this DVD release or Blu-ray release, the home video release, I saw a thing that was talking about like changing the color of the sky behind Brad Pitt's head in the finale, but then we got to move Brad Pitt's head just a little bit, like the precision of it. And I remember seeing that and thinking, this is not a criticism, that's David Fincher.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean other directors don't do that, but you notice the deliberate results of that more in a Fincher movie. Which is probably the same thing you could say about the movie we watched last week. Ari Aster's movies look like Ari Aster movies. David Fincher movies look like David Fincher movies.
So here's a funny story about that, about David Fincher and how meticulous he is. I saw an interview with Ben Affleck, and he said when they were filming Gone Girl.
Oh, right. You're going to tell
that
the
he
story.
said that they were setting the scene, and it was a scene with Ben Affleck, and he was kind of waiting, and it was like, I think it was like it's like an interior scene, and I guess Fincher had left the set to go do something, and Ben Affleck thought, hey, he went over and he turned the aperture on the camera like a half of a stop, like down. And he's like, this will be funny, right? And he goes, he probably won't even notice it. Like he figured, obviously they go through a whole thing before they actually shoot, and he figured he probably wouldn't notice it till he actually looked at, I guess he looks at the settings and everything like that, and realized it was wrong. He said Fincher came back on the set and immediately looked through the eyepiece and he went, "Who the fuck turned this down like that?" And he was like. It was me, like that. But like he knew immediately looking through there that the scene just looked a little bit darker.
That's funny. And then he was like, "What do you think you're a director, Affleck?"
Yeah,
and
really.
Affleck was like, "Yeah, Academy Award winner."
A little bit. I just thought that was kind of funny. I also like the choice of the Smiths. That's just a little quirky thing. Although I heard somebody said, and I don't know if this is true, but there's a rumor in the next John Wick movie that comes out that one of the killers listens to The Cure. I'm like, come on, guys. Like,
well, we don't even know anything about that movie because I think I don't want to spoil it. Like, the one movie I don't want to spoil. The ending of John Wick 4 is pretty definitive.
Yeah, I haven't.
And then they made us. Oh, you should. They're amazing movies. But the spinoff that came out this year, I haven't seen. Called Ballerina is set, I believe, between 2 and 3. It might be set between 2 and 4. But I think it's set, and so he's not the main character, but I understand Keanu Reeves is in it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
I've seen
the way
he's in the trailer.
Yeah. Oh, right. That's right. The way that John Wick 4 ends, you could read it as like we're finished, because also Chad Stahelski and the guys behind the movie were incredible at it. Maybe like I'm ready to move on.
Yeah.
But then they kept making a ton of money. And so I think that I get the impression they're not so much like, well, let's make all the more money, because, I mean, how much money do you really need? But it's like, I guess people really want this and like this, so maybe we'll keep going. So I don't know. I'm hoping for The Killer, too.
I didn't want to say about the, they could have The Killer.
Sure.
But
we'll talk about that ending.
Cinematographer, actually, no, I'm sorry. Let me go back. So the client. So this is the problem that I have with the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, I think that tangent was my fault. I apologize.
That's okay. But I'm going to talk about. So the client is this. He's a really rich guy. I'm assuming he's a billionaire, but we don't know.
Well, he must be wealthy because he's got, first of all, a giant television in his giant apartment in Chicago with giant floor-to-ceiling windows and like 20-foot ceilings. Yeah. And next to the television are 2 smaller but still large television showing stock market-y stuff.
Oh yeah,
they always must be wealthy.
Yeah, whenever somebody's watching the stock market, they're always wealthy.
Plus, the guy kind of a dick.
Yeah. So
and short, which trouble.
So this is this is huge. If you haven't known, I mean, there's a huge spoiler. He basically just says to the guy, Arliss Howard, the client, he says,
not
"Do we have
Arliss from the HBO show?"
No, not Arliss from the HBO show. But he says, "Do we have a problem?"
Right.
And that's when he tells them the whole thing. He goes, "I didn't know they were going to do that. They said that they could take care of this, and I thought this was just like business as usual."
Right. So
and
I gave him another
yes.
$50,000, and they said they'll take care of it.
He and.
It was interesting because he literally has no idea who Michael Fassbender is.
Yeah.
And when he first sees him, he's on the phone and he goes, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, he's not intimidated.
Yeah,
he's used to being the man.
Yeah.
And then he quickly realizes, oh no, I'm actually in trouble and I don't know why.
And I just felt like, and then Michael Fassbender's like, he's like, well, if we ever have a problem, I can have basically tells him there's a variety of ways I can make you die.
Don't look like accidents. Fall down the elevator, choke on something.
And then I sit there and I go, and I got to that point. I went, now I like this movie. I'll say that I did like the movie, but I was like, dude, but it was okay to kill the poor. It was okay. I'm not going to kill the really rich guy. But I'm not gonna. But I'll kill the poor taxi guy that drove the people there. I mean, I understand he was angry, but I felt like I was like, dude.
Well, but I don't. I understand this question. I think it makes sense. I don't think by the time he got to this guy, he was as angry, because everybody that was much more directly connected to violating his home and hurting his girlfriend, he'd killed.
Yeah.
And he included the cab driver on that, which is pretty mean.
Yeah.
And he included Dolores on that, which isn't very nice.
Yeah.
But this guy literally has no idea why he's there. And he had no idea that the what he paid for was to hurt this guy's like girlfriend and all that kind of stuff. So maybe it's really a professional detachment, or maybe he thinks he'll hire me in the future. But I felt like his anger, his vengeance, kind of ran out of gas after he killed Tilda Swinton.
I mean, it's possible.
Because these are the people who were there.
Yeah.
These are the people who did it.
Yeah.
And maybe he's also a guy, I guess you get far enough up the chain, you realize these people are so detached. Like, there's no malice in the $50,000 that he paid.
He did hire to get someone killed, so I guess that was the part that kind of bugged me.
Right, but that was Fassbender's job.
No,
these people are shitty people, and he's like, I'm shitty too. That's fine.
Yeah, but I guess. I mean, yeah. I was like, dude. I was like, you don't kill the rich guy, but you killed, like. I mean, obviously, especially out of all of them. I mean, the person who was directly responsible, the brute, directly responsible for physical. Yeah, that.
Well, it's possible that these guys know each other, and maybe the killer talked to the accountant, and Ben Affleck's the accountant. And he ran the numbers, and he was like, here's the people that are worth killing, and this guy isn't worth killing, and here's why. And he said it in a really flat voice, and then they cut that scene out.
It was the crossover we didn't know that we needed.
That's right. It's got to be a small community of high-end professional killers, and they're probably all wired like Fassbender.
Well, no, somebody said, I saw somebody talk about this online, that, I mean, I think it's probably a very small community, and I'm sure it's probably much more like Michael Fassbender's world of the killer than the whole idea of the John Wick thing.
Oh my God,
it's preposterous.
Where everybody in New York
there's an economy
is on it. Yeah,
there's an economy based around serving professional assassins.
I mean, I dig the fact that they gave you
it's
a
fun.
taste
It's a fantasy,
right, but I dug that they kind of gave you a taste of it in the first one. Like, this is a hotel just for you people.
Yeah.
How do you pay? You have to have the gold coin.
Yeah.
Like, it was all access stuff. It was all, Green Acres, Beverly Hills, Beverly Hillbillies, whatever kind of codes and stuff. But this we don't know anything about the world of assassins.
Yeah.
Drew winked at Scott. But this feels more realistic. There's a broker, and he's got a system to protect his clients, and then there's the assassins, and the brute was really mad at Fassbender because he was in his house. Because doesn't he realizes at some point, he goes, oh, you're the guy, or you're him, or something. Yeah. But before that, he was just like, you picked the wrong house, motherfucker, kind of thing, and that's why he was angry. And then when he found out who he was like, well, I guess I need to kill you, but basically you messed up my house.
Yeah.
If he found out he drugged his dog, like, didn't do that to my dog.
Yeah.
I get it. Plus, the movie was full of brand names. Full of brand airlines and Amazon and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, you know what?
I wonder if that was like a Fight Club reference.
Speaking of names,
yeah,
we forgot to mention the little thing they had going on there, where all of his identification was named after like 70s and 80s
TV characters and fictional characters.
Yeah, like Sam Malone,
right? Felix Unger.
Yeah, that was.
That was fun.
What was the Jordan? When he's the bank, he's George Jefferson.
Right, George Jefferson. And then at one point he was Archibald Bunker.
Yes,
with the little umlaut over the U.
Yeah,
that was my favorite one. Archibald Bunker.
Archibald.
He must know Tobias Funke. People who shouldn't have umlauts.
I really think that the but as far as the cinematography by and say the name, because I know you like saying the name of the
Eric Messerschmidt.
So German of
Sorry, Academy Award winner Eric Messerschmidt.
Yes, he did. I mean, just David Fincher's movies in general. I think he is just so good in low light. Like I've just always, and I think this movie was just some of the scenes. When they talk about cinematography as painting with light.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that what they say, Scott?
They say. Well, I had a book that said that once. So
I thought you were talking about Fox News sources. They say.
No.
People
Trust
say.
me, bro. My source is University of Trust Me, bro. But they have the scenes in that scene in Florida, those night scenes. Like, there's a particular scene that I love where it's right after he drugs the dog, and he leans up against the van waiting for the dog, for the drugs to take effect. And he's sitting there, and it's like there's all this backlight, like and I'm guessing the motivation for the light was some kind of like just some kind of like street light or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's leaning up against the van, and he's almost completely black, so it's almost like a black silhouette. And he's just, and I'm like, that looks so cool.
It's,
Like,
yeah,
he's just
the
like
movie
sitting
looks,
there.
movie looks very cool.
Yeah, and just his the all the low light stuff was good. Like I said, the whole Brute thing. Like I would go back and just watch that scene.
Sure. Listen, he had a lot of dumb hats in this movie. And
well, he went to look like a German tourist.
Right, but he pulled it off. And a lot of that was because the whole movie looked amazing.
Well, it was mainly the bucket hats. That was the main thing.
It was dumb.
Yeah, but he said that
That's the kind of thing Archibald Bunker would wear. Oh.
he's trying to.
I get it.
He's trying to. He wants to look like a German tourist because he said the French people don't want to bother with German tourists.
True.
So, and
yes, Herr Unger. Herr Jefferson.
And I really, can't praise the music. I love the music in this. I think it was, and it's like it's a little.
Who did the score? Trent Reznor
and Atticus and Atticus Ross did that. I thought it did good with like I like how because their music can sound like it can really go. He's really big on making sounds that don't. Or sounds that you don't hear every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so that worked really well in those scenes where it was sort of like he's kind of straying from the plan. He's getting a little emotional here.
Yep.
And I really enjoyed that a lot. And did you have anything else to add to this?
No, I think. Oh, you know what? I did think of one thing with this movie. This is a good thing for me to close on now that we've talked about this movie that I wasn't super into for like 6 hours. The talk, not the movie. I feel like this movie is doing a lot of things at once.
Uh-huh.
It's doing them well.
Uh-huh.
I can't decide if I really connected with any of it.
Okay.
And I liked some of it, but the way... And, I basically connect with movies emotionally more than anything else.
Sure.
So I'm not surprised that the Brute fight is genuinely exhilarating,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the most memorable part of the movie. And
Yeah.
the movie is deliberately cool, temperature-wise.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean I don't like it. But
The color wise too, they did, like you were saying. I mean, that's always very intentional with
with
Fincher.
Fincher for sure. But the
there's a lot of blues,
the coolness of the tone.
Yeah.
When it did a lot of blues without looking like Michael Mann, so I give him credit
That's true.
for that.
That's true.
That's good. I mean, you can rip off Michael Mann all day; it'll fucking look great. But it felt like a David Fincher movie. But I guess I didn't really care about anybody.
Yeah.
I felt a little bad for the cab driver.
Yeah.
I felt really bad for Dolores.
Yeah.
I was very concerned about the dog. But maybe it's 2 weeks in a row of movies that we've talked about that I've like, I don't care about these people, and it doesn't have they don't have to be good people or whatever.
Well,
I cared about Tony Soprano for
I don't think but Tony
or
Soprano had like I don't think that there is I don't feel like the one thing that anchored him to make him human we don't see enough of, and that's his girlfriend, his partner.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
And I think that's probably why you're feeling that way, because I feel like when you look at a lot of the anti-heroes, and I'm just gonna, these are TV anti-heroes, but if I bring up like Tony Soprano, but I'm just saying these are two that I know that are very popular. Most people will probably recognize right away. We look at Tony Soprano or Walter White. The thing that makes
Vic
them
Mackey from The Shield,
or Vic Mack, but even him, there's usually a family connection that makes you're like, well, he's not 100% terrible.
Vic Mackey has like
he has
a wife
son,
and he has a son with autism, and
yeah.
so it's like I got to rob the money train because
Yeah.
I'm a big badass and I'm betraying my badge. But I mean, my kid needs to go to special schools and all that. Kind of stuff. I get it.
I think that's
fair.
And I think and I think what happens here is that you do see in the beginning and you do see her at the end, but I don't feel like you ever.
Well, it's almost surprising he has someone.
Yeah.
And that he has someone that he cares about. His whole house is very him. It doesn't feel like anybody else lives there. So that's why I wasn't sure.
To be honest, I looked at it that could be a vacation home.
Right.
Like for any like
which
a,
is
like, a,
him.
like a Airbnb.
Which is him. He's always on the move. What does he have all over the world?
Yeah.
Storage units.
Yeah. And I think that was a if I had to guess, if I had to put on my amateur psychoanalytical hat,
you
that I would
pronounce,
say that I can't say that I would say that's probably that you're missing sort of that connective tissue.
That could be. That's a good fair.
Because
didn't ruin the movie. I don't think it's a bad movie. I'm just talking about my personal experience with it, which is, of course, the most important experience.
And I feel like for this movie, definitely for me, I felt like more so than you did. I felt more of a vibe. I was digging the vibe.
I get it,
but at the same time, I do agree with you. I didn't feel like a connection to him, to our protagonist. I mean,
although what I felt, I really dig Fassbender. I really dig him as an actor. So that was an interesting choice for me to watch him in this role that was hard for me to connect to because I felt him.
The thing that I felt for him was the one thing that disappointed me about the movie is that he didn't kill the guy at the end. Like I was almost hoping that while he was with his girlfriend at the end, I'm assuming it's his girlfriend. I don't think it's his wife.
I think it's his girlfriend.
It's his partner is probably the best. The best.
Or his companion, like William Donald
significant other.
Yeah. His Hilda May Snoops.
I felt like he was. Oh damn it! You had to say something that threw me off. But the point I was trying to make was that he had a I didn't feel anything with it. Or wait, what was that? God damn it, Drew.
You're welcome.
Was it the? I think it was. I know what I was waiting for. I was hoping that while they were at the when they were together at the very end, that we were going to hear something like a news broadcast saying that guy was dead. They found the guy dead. I would have been.
Gotcha.
I mean, that wouldn't have been quite as satisfying as him just outright killing him. But at least I would have felt a little better. And I think maybe that's where I lost my connection because I was so much like, yeah, fuck all these people that tried to. I mean, I know he's a terrible person, but
he's pretty bad.
He's bad
with the murder.
Not great. That's my standard line.
Met better. Look, I mean, it's a vengeance film.
Yes.
So you know how those end, and this does something different with it. There's a better Netflix movie as far as emotionally connecting with it for me.
Yes.
That's about revenge that does not go where you expect, which is Rebel Ridge.
Oh yes, I have not seen that. I want to see that.
That's really good.
We should do it.
I would totally. Oh my god, I would totally do that.
Okay.
It's really good. It's a director that I really like, and it doesn't go where you expect it to go, which doesn't mean everybody has tea at the end or anything.
Don't tell me.
No, I'm not telling you. It's very interesting with the way it plays with it. And there's a movie that
I'm always up for a Don Johnson.
In a previous life, I did a YouTube show about Indian cinema. Yeah. So I love Indian movies. And there's a movie. It's a Malayalam film. Malayalam is the language, and there's lots of different industries in Indian film. They're by language and they're geographical and everything. And the movie is called Ayapanam Koshiyam, and it's about a conflict between a cop and some rich jerk in a small town, and it escalates and it escalates and it gets more and more dangerous and more violent. And then the way it ends is a shocking ending, but not like what you think with me saying the buildup. And that was. I didn't really love this movie in general, but I thought it was interesting that it did that choice. However, the movie felt like it just stopped, as opposed to a satisfying ending like what you're talking about. Rebel Ridge gives me a satisfying ending and surprised me. This movie, like they're sitting out in the sun and by.
Well, I didn't feel like it stopped. I just felt like it just didn't. I just didn't feel like it came to a natural conclusion, which is to me different than just stopping.
Okay.
I feel like. Yeah. I mean, it was just sort of like it was like where the ending point was with that confrontation between him and the client. Like it was just sort of like. I didn't feel like they didn't put a button on it at the end, as they like to say. I just kind of felt like it was like, okay.
Well, so look, you wanted that newscast,
or that would have been good.
Right. You know what I wanted?
What?
I wanted to see them sitting in the sun, and then the camera pulls back, and laying next to his chair is an aging pit bull with cropped ears that's just hanging out. But they didn't do that.
And he's throwing him treats, right?
He's throwing him Benadryl.
Benadryl. Here you go. Here's some NyQuil.
Well, he could have allergies being in the Dominican. You don't know.
It's possible. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap on The Killer.
Already?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I mean, is there another Indian movie you would like to give me a description of before we?
Absolutely.
I know. I'm just being.
We're gonna do at least one of them on the show.
Sure.
I'm gonna blow your mind
I'm
with
not,
one of them.
I'm not opposed to that.
Everybody who hears me say I'm going to blow your mind with an Indian movie, you know exactly which one I'm talking about, but you'll see.
So, well, until next week, stick to the plan. unless the plan is killing your soul, and then maybe don't.
Just don't hurt the dog.
Don't hurt the dog. All right. So, and just to wrap up, follow us on Instagram at StoryPunkPod. I was going to say podcast, but it's StoryPunk Pod. And because I tried to make it easy. And
it's not easy for you, but easy for the audience.
Easy for the audience to find. That have to type in more words. And there's the updates when we drop our new episodes. I'm hoping to add some more content to that.
Stop apologizing for that.
I'm not apologizing.
Just add it and surprise the fans.
Okay, well, that's true, too. But
we have a Substack. We have Letterboxd accounts. We have lots of exciting things that
Facebook
are
page.
growing. We don't have a team working on that for us yet, so you're welcome.
And on Letterboxd, I'm StoryPunk Scott.
I'm Solid Gould.
And until next time, remember, story matters.